Yeah, good morning, everyone. It's good to be here. Thanks for QCware for organizing this lovely conference. There have been great talks yesterday and this morning as well. And what I'm going to do, what I'm trying to do is, I thought a long while what kind of talk I want to give here, and I thought it would be valuable to have some sort of meta-level talk where I introduce how we structure our projects we run on this scape, instead of exactly talking about, instead of giving a technical talk, giving some perspective how we started, how we're doing now, and because I think in the audience there's a lot of people who are trying to get into this field and trying to provide some perspective what we would do if we would do it all over again. So, I mean, quantum computing, as you might know, is a quite complex field. There's a lot of nuances one has to take into consideration when moving. There's no current money to be made at the moment, but no one wants to get left behind as well. So how do you take first steps in this field? How do you run first projects, find use cases inside your company that might be valuable to put into these QPUs or leverage this new technology? And our model might serve as a role model for you to, find a way forward going with this technology. Just a quick word about our company, because I don't think many of you guys might know us, and our business model and where our need for computation, especially quantum computation, arises. So we're a chemical company. We were like former biomaterial sciences, which was segregated out of the company. A lot of our business are high performance materials, especially like polyurethanes and polycarbonates. We exclusively sell B2B, so not a lot of our products appear on the scape, but we are a big part of like the automotive industry and so on. A lot of our products, for example, go into cars. A lot of insulation for fridges are made by us. We do a lot of sports, high-performance sports tools. There's insulation for construction site. So a wide variety of materials that we produce and help our clients succeed. We have around 18,000 employees, like 16 billion euros of sale, just to give you some perspective on the scale on that we operate globally. Quick word about me. I have a background in topological quantum computation. I was a researcher for Microsoft Quantum for a while, and now I'm focused on researching in the space of finding some use for NIST devices that might be applicable to quantum chemistry, as Covestro is pursuing it. So how do we operate? So a lot, like having these high-performance materials, there's a lot of simulations to be done inside our company. So depending on the length scale of the product, I don't think this has a pointer, but sort of on the top left, you can see like processes that happen at high length scales or at a high level of abstraction. For example, when you want to form a good mold for a fridge insulation, like how do you actually set it up so in the end you have a product that your customer needs and has a perfect quality of it. And as you move smaller and smaller and smaller, you would need different processes to simulate the chemistry, what's going on. And sort of at the very bottom, you reach processes where you might get into catalytic processes. You set up a reaction paths. And this is the scale where quantum computing might come into play to help you find new, more effective processes to actually run your company in a more profitable way, or find new business avenues you could go down. And this is done in our company by sort of having a range of computational engineers that sort of are on these higher length scale. And as we move down, there's computational chemists who try to run our business in more comfortable and sort of serve us as a company, but also our clients to set them up for success inside their businesses. So where does quantum computation into play here? We as a chemical player, are always faced, especially today, with sort of moving on. I mean, the chemical landscape is, as many might know, a bit conservative, and the tectonic plates shift slowly, but they do shift. And for us, it will become very important in a few years to become fully sustainable. So like setting up a circular business model around your products. And for example, the textile industry has found a way forward by physically recycling their products, shredding them up, and using them in like a lesser quality. But we want to go one step further and actually do a chemical recycling of our products to then get back the e-ducts we made them out of, to then start the process all over again. And to achieve this, Covestro needs any help they can get, and we want to enable our computational chemists to be able to face the challenges we will have in the next decade. So we're not only investing in quantum computation, it's one part of our strategy to not miss the train in that way. We have on-site HPC. So there's a lot of stuff going on which then these projects are embedded into. And maybe one key thing to highlight here is, I mean, a lot of people talk about, yeah, okay, quantum advantage, when it's going to happen, 2030, 2032, 2035 possibly. I mean, that sounds still a long time away, but it's also sort of the time scale the chemical industry acts on. When we plan these big construction or like production facilities we set up, this is also done in 10, 15 years in advance, from first conceiving then up until actually having a line that's producing product for you in the end. So when people were introducing quantum computing to our company, people were like 2030, time to get started. It's not, I mean, it does sound away. It seems this in the future, but 10 years pass in no time, and for us, it seems better to sort of go with the development of the industry than just looking at it and sort of not participating and sort of breaking first ground here. So how do we operate here? The good thing about being an end user in this industry is everyone wants to talk to you, because in the end, you're expected to pay the bill, if you so will. And if you can't find value in what the technology is doing, no one will. So everyone, especially here, is very interested in what you need, what kind of problems you're interested in. So it's very easy to talk to people and set up projects as well. So what do? We have a multi-year collaboration with QCware, which we also invested by now, where we mostly focused on quantum algorithm for the near-term technologies. We have multiple papers published by now. There's IP connected with it. We set up these joint teams between the two companies where we meet on a regular basis and sort of move on and set up concrete projects we want to do, and then secure IP in this way. We also have a multi-year collaboration with Google Quantum AI, where unfortunately the current project hasn't seen the light of archive today, so I cannot talk about it. But it's focused on a different aspect of the technology, where we really want to put stuff on hardware, see where are the limits today, how can we push forwards, what kind of, in this case, it's mostly error mitigation. How can we enable the technology to actually make the next steps it needs to get to market at some point? And then we also have projects with public universities, where we're funded by the BMBF, which is a public agency, where because there's groups in these universities who build quantum computers. It's like neutral atoms and ion trap quantum computers, where we're trying to set up an infrastructure where we can run calculations end-to-end from our system up until over the cloud onto their computer and get the results back. And they're also very happy to collaborate. So there's a lot of win-win situations you can set up in this space, where universities are very interested because they want to work on relevant problems. Other distributors are interested what's actually valuable to you, how can you find applications in the future for this technology. So just finding a first step and then moving on is, I think, a good advice to be done. Just quickly, 2 publications we've done with QCware. We are focused in this collaboration, as I already told you, on the NISC era, especially VQE settings. I think we also heard, or we touched upon this topic in some of the talks yesterday. And just to give a brief overview, so VQE has a lot of parts which has to be optimized for it to be working at some point. And so the left publication focuses more on the ansatz, which is, in a way, the simulation of your molecule you're trying to run, while on the right-hand side, we try to extract more than just ground state energies from these calculations. In this case, it's nuclear gradients, sort of having more relevant properties of these systems that our computational chemists can then use to run further calculations. So what are our lessons learned here? So what would I advise you to do? I think, or like I've seen that a lot of people have, or like see quantum computation, want to know, okay, what can I do with it? Where can I apply it? I think the better way to do it is the other way around, is to find a problem inside your company where classical computing has reached its limit, where sort of there is no moving on from there. You tried it. There is a clear computational gap which you cannot bridge. And I think these problems are very, very good to choose as sort of a first step. So can we have a path forward from there? Then, like having found this project, and I guess a lot of collaborators will help you finding these projects, partner up with an external partner, which then provides the quantum computational knowledge around it. But still, your use case is the thing you bring into this collaboration, which is very valuable. So you don't have to forget this. Because if the industry doesn't find compelling use cases for the technology, it's not going to move forward in any way. And for things like quantum finance, it's easier to monetize an advantage because it's clearly just giving yourself a competitive advantage by evaluating something more correctly than your competitors. You can leverage this to gain money. But for a lot of other things technology might do, it's less clear actually how to monetize these things. And that's sort of where your use case plays a big role in making these things possible. Then I would highly advise you to not work in a vacuum. Like for us, we're always in close contact with our computational chemists, because what we might find in a way academically interesting, they might find not usable at all. So stay in close contact with the users inside your company that in the end should be using this product. Because if you make a nice stack or program that in principle runs perfect calculation, but no one's using it, there's also no value to that. And then last but not least, because you're probably going to set up a small team at the beginning inside your company or have like limited resources, I would be very focused on what you're trying to do or what part you're playing in these collaborations and sort of try to use synergies between them. For example, just to give a brief, so like in all these collaborations, we have sort of our stack that helps enable us in each of these projects. We don't have to do multiple double work in some way. So we leverage a lot of synergies between these projects and are able to make a lot more space than we would if you did it in this case. And because you're still a small team, keeping standards high is also very important, because once you've set up, or like once complexity has grown out of hand, there is probably no way back. So keeping that in mind and being careful what you do and what you don't do is I think, good advice. And that's about it. If you have any questions, please find me at the conference. It was lovely to speak here. Thank you for your attention.